morning.
Hi everyone, we're back from the same location, you may notice.
Same shirt on too, same hat.
Same background. Anyway, we're doing a few intros here while we've got some time to catch up. So this video is about our time in Kununarra. So we left Lake Argyle and drove to Kununarra. We had been there on the Sunday before we got to Lake Argyle just to quickly call in and get some groceries and some fuel. So we'd had a very quick little look at Kununarra, so we had a bit of an idea of the size and where to go when we got there. So once we had fueled again, we went straight to the Tourist Information Centre, and I highly recommend, if you're not sure of what facilities or things there are to do around an area, that you drop in, because the information that you get from these places is really, really good, and that local knowledge is really helpful. So there was a desk there for El Questro Station, which was obviously on our list of places that we wanted to go and see. So that was our first stop in the information centre, and the bloke there was really, really helpful. Told us a lot about El Questro, but also about Kununarra and things to do in the local area. So with his guidance, we made up a bit of an itinerary, and then when we'd finished speaking to him, we spoke to another lady who gave us a few other pointers about some things that we could do. So
around the local area.
The local area, that's right. So we left there, and on the recommendation of the fellow on the El Questro desk, we went to the Ivanhoe Village Caravan Park. We were able to get a site there, and they also confirmed that we would be able to store our caravan there while we went off and visited El Questro. So that was really convenient, because we pulled in there, had one night there on power, so got everything charged up, washing done in preparation for our trip in the car to El Questro in a few days' time. So the first place we went and visited in Kununarra was a place called Kelly's Knob, which is a lookout. So we climbed to the first lookout, which was really, really easy. And while we were standing there looking at that, we noticed there were some people over on another section of it, a fair bit higher up. And there was an older couple sitting there, and we said, "Oh, you must be able to get over there." And they said, "Oh yeah, it takes about an hour." So I was like, "Oh yeah, cool, no worries, let's go."
So off we went.
Till we got halfway up, and then I started complaining. It was hard, it was really steep. And actually I got a little bit lightheaded, because you climb up really quickly. It's a really short, sharp climb and a lot of stairs, and it was fairly warm. Fortunately, we had our drinks in our camelbacks,
knapsacks, yeah.
So we were hydrated, but
and it was a path. It wasn't a rocky climb like we're used to. It was an actual path, but it was very steep. And they had, like Mudda said, some stairs, and they were steep. So.
Yeah, and then you know that you're in the highest point of Kununarra when you're standing up beside the telephone towers, and there's a warning that says you may get radiation if you stay there too long. So that was interesting when we got there.
But we haven't had any side effects so far from it.
No. So we got up there, admired the view. I caught my breath.
Well, I haven't caught a fish yet. She's caught her breath, but
true.
anyway.
So I caught my breath, and then it was time to make our descent back down to the car. Then we went down to the Celebrity Tree Park and had a walk around there, and that was really, really nice. It's a beautiful lawn area beside the lake.
Really beautifully maintained, and the trees are planted by celebrities and politicians and dignitaries who visit the area. So there was John Farnham had planted a tree.
Kate Sobrano.
Yeah,
John
Malcolm
Williams.
Turnbull.
Yeah, there was lots of different people.
Yeah, lots of different.
Some didn't do a very good job because their trees didn't last, but anyway, other trees had grown.
Ernie Dingo had planted one.
So no, it was beautiful. It was just a really nice, relaxing, shady walk around. It was really, really nice to just, stretch the legs a little bit after the big climb in the morning. So after Celebrity Tree Park, we went out to the Sandalwood Factory.
Oh, that's right, yes.
But we didn't realise that the day had slipped away on us. The days just get away on you so quickly over here. And by the time we got out there, she was actually just bringing the flags in, but she was kind enough to let us in there. So we had a quick look around, and I would have loved to have spent some money in the shop, but it was very expensive. So
I'm glad you
on our budget, we didn't bring any goods away.
Then we went to the
Hoochery
after that, but that was closed. 4 o'clock they closed, and we got there about 4:10. So
yeah,
we thought, oh well,
we'll do that the next day because we were going to be heading back out that way the next day. So was back to the caravan park. We locked up the caravan in the storage part of the caravan park the following morning, and we were on the road a bit before 9.
Yeah.
Straight out to the hoochery. Craig was quite excited at the prospect of some rum tasting. But once again, when we got there, even though it was a lovely facility, very expensive, really expensive, and didn't appear to be any rum tasting at that time. I think maybe later in the day there might have been. We were a bit early. Yeah. But it was nice to have a look around. And then we headed out to Ivanhoe Crossing.
Yeah. Which is only 20 k's out of town.
Not even that.
We were
surprised.
It's
really
we
close
thought
to
it was
Kununarra.
fair way, but
yeah. So we had been given reassurances by the lady at the Tourist Information Centre that it was safe to drive across. We've certainly not done very many water crossings, and certainly nothing to that degree. And it can be quite daunting when you look at it without knowing whether it's safe or not to proceed. The water actually isn't that high, it's just the rate that it flows. So basically the advice from the Tourist Information Centre was that if the road was open and that it was safe to travel across. If it's unsafe, they put boulders either side of the crossing to stop you getting across. So we got there, we parked as you do, and we watched some other cars go across. Chatted to a few people that were quite nervous about going across, so we encouraged them to go first.
And they did, silly people.
And then it was time for us. So because we wanted to video it and we both were keen to have a drive, we both took it in turns to video and drive across. So we actually went across and back twice, and it was really good. The car obviously handled it really well. And yeah, once we got to the other side, we'd been encouraged to take the back road to Wyndham, which is a gravel road with a few interesting things to see along the way. So we continued up towards Wyndham, and the first stop was Manby Island boat ramp. We pulled in there and saw a couple that were getting in a boat that didn't seem to be too worried about crocs because the boat wasn't real big.
No, it wasn't. But,
no, so I wouldn't like to be in it if a croc decided to jump up and say hello. But anyway, good for them. And then we went a bit further along and we came across the old Telegraph Station Hill, I think it was called, which looked out over a wetlands. So we had a bit of a look around there. We popped down to the wetlands and there was a bird hide where you could sit and look at all the birds. So you could have very easily filled some time in there, but there was a family in there with some young children that weren't being very quiet, so it defeated the purpose of hiding in there. But yeah, then it was back to the highway, close to Wyndham, and then we decided that we'd go and see the prison boab tree, and we thought it was the one that everybody takes photos of, which turns out is the one in Derby. But anyway, we set off to find this prison boab tree down one of the worst roads you could ever drive in your life.
And we found it, but
it was a horrendous road.
It wasn't really, well, I suppose it was a prison boab tree, but it's not the one in Derby, which everyone talks about.
Yeah. So anyway, we drove down there. It was hot, it was dusty, wasn't a whole lot of shade. We went to the effort of finding it, so we had lunch there, seeing that we'd driven all that way. And then it was time to make the trip back, which was just as bumpy as the way in.
Across the salt plain?
Yeah, well, we didn't actually cross the salt plain, we went around the salt plain. Then we got to Wyndham, and not a lot to see in Wyndham. We were hoping we'd be able to buy an ice cream, couldn't even find an ice cream. So father pumped the tyres back up because we'd let them down.
My mum tried to buy a boab nut.
As soon as you stop in some of these towns, you're a bit of a sitting or a bit of a target. And so a lovely Aboriginal woman came across who was trying to sell me some carved boab nuts. So I politely let her know that we couldn't purchase one because we'd be going back across the border. And then she went on her way. But they were beautiful. What she had done was absolutely beautiful. But yeah, we couldn't buy one.
Went from there to Five Rivers Lookout, which is it the highest point in?
Well, it probably would be the highest point in Wyndham, but it's apparently rated as one of the best lookouts in Australia.
Yeah. You can actually see where the Five Rivers come in or go out.
It was quite windy that day, so I didn't use the drone at the Ivanhoe Crossing because there obviously was the water, and had I put in the water and the crocodiles and everything else, I wasn't going looking for it. But we decided at the Five Rivers Lookout to put the drone up. But as I said, it was very, very windy, so we didn't put the drone up as high as it could have gone, and we certainly didn't fly it around.
There are other people there. So.
There were other people there, so we didn't want to annoy other people. But yeah, although we put the drone up, the footage isn't as nice as I would like it to have been, because it was blowing a gale, and poor old drone was giving me lots of warnings about you should land, you should land, you should land. So I eventually took its advice and did land, but we got a nice little panoramic view while it was up there, which was nice. So then we drove back down the bitumen to the start of the Gibb River Road and turned down there. I think you drive down there, I'm not sure of the kilometres, but it's bitumen all the way to El Questro, and then once you get to El Questro, the road then goes to gravel. So we pulled in at the entrance to El Questro to take our photo of the car at the sign, and we were approached by a group of backpackers who asked did we have an air compressor, because they'd let their tyres down and couldn't pump them back up, and they'd just finished coming along the Gibb. So Fada was very happy to jump out and give them a hand, but while he was doing that and pumping their tyres up, realised that they actually had a puncture.
Their back tyre, yeah, wouldn't stay up.
No, so once again, fortunately we had a tyre repair kit.
So we fixed that for them.
Yes.
And off they tootled, and off we tootled into El Questro.
Yeah, and that's where we'll finish this video.
Thanks again for watching.
Bye.
See ya.